But that's why I'm big into self-love and trying to coax your brain into allowing those really transcendent, wonderful, peaceful, grace-filled experiences.
Yeah.
But we want guaranteed experiences.
Yeah.
This is the big thing. I wanted to come on the show. Obviously, I'm going on tour with Rob Bell, who's this amazing, I would call him a mystic. He's a wonderful, he was a pastor. He's an author. He's amazing.
Yeah.
He's real Christ consciousness kind of guy.
Cool.
You would love him. I'm surprised you haven't had him on, actually. And one of the things that we're talking about on this tour is at least from my perspective, when I talk about it, is we want guaranteed experiences. Your brain loves guaranteed experiences.
Yeah.
That's why we keep going back to jerking off is a guaranteed experience.
Guaranteed.
Pornography is a guaranteed experience.
Yeah.
Alcohol, coffee,
Yeah.
fucking, all these things. Well, fucking can go either way.
Yeah. It's guaranteed to be weird. No way for fucking to not be weird. It's guaranteed to be weird.
That's true. But or chocolate, any of these things that we put into our bodies, very basic things. We go I take this and it goes in and I feel this way. I watch the Avengers and I watch the Avengers. I do all of these things.
Yeah.
I watch the Avengers and I kind of feel cool, the world's a little bit brighter,
Yes.
more marvelous. But then the things that are truly, really fascinating, where the real juice is, aren't guaranteed.
Right.
You'll meditate 12 times this week, and maybe 10 of those, nothing quote unquote great is going to happen. Or maybe you'll just be overwhelmed with this is a waste of time. What am I doing? Here's one. I'm really firing.
Yeah, please.
I blame the pills.
Fire.
I was taking a walk with my dog, and I was having a really wonderful look. You know when the world just kind of looks like a train set?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You're I'm inside of a train set.
It's incredible.
And it completely naturally, and I'm just walking, and I'm this is it, man. This is the only moment. Claim your bliss in this moment. Stop thinking about when the walk is over. Stop postponing your happiness to after my dog shits.
Yeah.
And after I get home and take these shoes off, or whatever it is. Be happy right here, right?
Yes.
And then I pass, there's this bar on one of the streets, and there's this show going on, showgirls and stuff. And I looked in the window, and I just, right when I turned my head, there was a woman changing. Not part of the show. Just above the venue.
Wow.
A woman with beautiful breasts changing.
Yes.
Kind of an older woman, if it gives you if it makes it less creepy.
Even better.
I loved it. But the thing that was so interesting to me was it completely snapped me out of my transcendent moment.
Oh, no.
Not in a bad way necessarily, but I think it's so funny that we're striving for these next level, third way of thinking, third eye thinking things, and then you see a pair of tits and you're I want tits and I want hamburgers. You know what I mean? Your body will betray you.
So here's this an interesting thing you're doing here, which is that and this is the function of the ego. So the ego wants to do the same thing that the ego wants to do to the self what the politicians want to do to the earth, which is they want to create these false boundaries that and guard them. And even though these boundaries don't exist at all, they're imaginary boundaries. There's no United States, there's no Canada, there's no country. It's just one planet filled with people.
Right.
And it's not even called Earth. It's someone a long time ago decided to call it Earth or Gaia.
Right.
It has no name. It's just this phenomena that is growing people out of it that exists inside of infinity, and you're one piece of that. And so the ego is saying so here is the sacred and here is the profane.
Right.
Here is the train set and here is not the train set. When they're really...
Well, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, please.
Well,
because I know what you're saying, but maybe...
You know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying.
So it's sort of what this creates is this fantastic game with the self. You get to play this game with yourself where you have created a kind of electrical fence between what is sacred and transcendent and what isn't sacred and transcendent.
When really it all is sacred and transcendent.
And your ego can't handle that.
It can't handle it.
It's death. Because your ego doesn't want to die. Its whole function is to stay alive. So
Yep.
the moment it's I was listening to this great Ram Dass lecture. There's a great Audible Ram Dass. It's a series of his lectures. It's called, man, that guy was the king of this kind of articulation.
Yeah.
He's so good at it, but it's called Experiments in Truth.
Neither of us are going to
I'll give it to you. It's called Experiments in Truth. It's on Audible, but so it's all these great lectures, and he talks about how it goes from being, as you work on yourself, you get these inevitable moments of synchronicity. It just seems to go along with the territory where if you're meditating, even if you're not meditating, because meditation is just another thing, but if you're just, your intention has shifted to awakening, then what begins to happen is some unbelievable synchronicities that seem to be like you're watching the robes of God for 1 second move in front of you, and it's just that God is wearing time and space, and you're seeing this perfect, impossible synchronicity happen, and you always have that moment of like, holy shit. But because it's the ultimate creative force and apparently the source of all love, there's a polite quality to it where it's almost funny the way it's doing it. It's almost like a parent playing with a baby, a wink perhaps, but you see those moments and you go, holy shit, this stuff is working. And then you forget about it because it's too much to handle, and then it happens again. Well, Ram Dass was saying those holy shit moments stop happening every once in a while because of certain events and start happening constantly, where you realize that this entire thing that we're in is a synchronicity of such impossible proportions that it's undigestible by our egoic minds.